stuck. Absolutely stuck. The brake lights ahead painted a relentless, pulsing red against the gray asphalt. It felt like the entire city had collectively decided to just stop. And in that stillness, a different kind of gridlock was happening inside me. Exhaust fumes, the smell of hot tarmac, the low thrum of 100 idling engines. It all mixed into this thick, suffocating cloud. And it wasn't just outside the car. My eyelids felt like they had tiny weights attached, dragging them down. The radio, usually a friendly companion, was just a crackle of static and a cheerful voice talking about something that felt a million miles away from my reality. My world had shrunk to this metal box, this driver's seat, this overwhelming, bone-deep exhaustion. It was a strange feeling, like watching myself from a distance. My hands were on the wheel, but they didn't feel like mine. They were trembling. A fine, almost invisible tremor, but I could feel it buzzing up my arms. A car horn blared somewhere to my left, and I flinched, a jolt of useless adrenaline in a body that had nothing left to give. My heart was pounding, a frantic drumbeat against my ribs, but my thoughts were slow, syrupy, stuck in the mud. I'm tired, that's all. Just tired. But it was more than that, wasn't it? This wasn't the pleasant sleepiness after a good day's work. This was a deep, hollowed-out emptiness. A burnout so profound it felt like the pilot light of my soul had been extinguished. And then, a thought, clear as a bell through the mental fog. I can't do this. Not for one more second. It wasn't a dramatic decision. It was a simple, biological imperative, like needing to breathe. My turn signal clicked on, a tiny, defiant sound in the cacophony. I maneuvered the car slowly, deliberately, into a small, grimy pull-off area by the side of the road. An abandoned-looking spot with overgrown weeds and a discarded tire. Not exactly a scenic overlook, but at that moment, it was my sanctuary. I put the car in park, the engine shuttered off, and the silence that followed was deafening. And beautiful. For the first few minutes, I just sat there. I didn't check my phone. I didn't try to figure things out, I just was. I closed my eyes, and instead of fighting the exhaustion, I just let it wash over me. I rested my head back against the seat and focused on the one thing I could control. My breath. In, through my nose, feel the cool air. Out, through my mouth. Feel the tension release from my shoulders, just a little. I started to sync my breathing with the low hum of a distant truck's engine, a rhythm in the chaos. Inhale with the hum, exhale with the silence that followed. It was a tiny anchor in a swirling sea of overwhelm. This wasn't a solution. It wasn't a magic fix. It was a pause, a conscious, deliberate pause. And in that pause, I realized something. We're all so obsessed with pushing through, with grinding, with hustling until we break. We celebrate it. Rise and grind. No days off. We treat our bodies and minds like machines that never need maintenance. But even the most advanced machines need to be turned off sometimes. They need to cool down. They need to be refueled. Why do we think we're any different? My breakdown on the side of that busy road wasn't a failure. It was my system's emergency brake. It was a desperate, last-ditch effort to save me from myself. That moment became the start of my recovery. It wasn't about a grand vacation or a dramatic life overhaul. Not at first. It was about finding those little pull-off areas in my day. Micro breaks. It was about learning to recognize the signs, the subtle whispers of burnout before they became a screaming siren. The slight tremor in my hands, the heavy eyelids, the feeling of being disconnected. It was about giving myself permission to stop, even for just 60 seconds. To close my eyes, take a few deep, conscious breaths, and just be. I started finding these moments everywhere. Waiting for the coffee to brew, instead of scrolling through emails, I just listened to the gurgle of the machine. Walking from my car to the office door, I'd focus on the feeling of my feet hitting the pavement. Stuck in another traffic jam? Instead of fuming, I'd use it as a forced meditation. Turn off the radio. Breathe. Notice the color of the sky, the shape of the clouds. These weren't huge, life-altering changes. They were small, almost insignificant, but they started to add up. Each tiny pause was like putting a single drop of water back into a dried-up well. Slowly, very slowly, the water level started to rise. The constant, buzzing anxiety in my chest began to quiet down. The fog in my brain started to lift just a little, allowing moments of clarity to shine through. I started to feel like myself again, not a ghost operating a human-shaped vehicle. It taught me that self-care isn't about bubble baths and face masks, though those are nice too. It's about a fundamental respect for your own limits. It's about treating yourself with the same compassion you'd offer a friend who told you they were struggling. So, if you're feeling it, that gridlock in your soul, that deep, pervasive exhaustion, I want you to know you're not alone. And I want you to give yourself permission to pull over. You don't need to wait for a full-blown breakdown on the side of the highway. Find your own little pull-off area. Right now even, just for a minute. Put the phone down. Close your eyes. Take one deep breath, in and out. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel the chair supporting you. You're here. You're okay. This is where recovery begins. Not in some distant, perfect future, but right here, in this small, quiet, powerful pause. One conscious breath at a time. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more conversations about navigating life's challenges with a little more grace and compassion. I'd love to hear in the comments about the small ways you find moments of pause in your day. Take care of yourselves.